Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation life energy coach under the sun. Reason why? Because there's no such coaching program like my coaching program, and nobody spends as much time with and on their clients like I do. True story. I rendezvous with all of my clients 2 to 3 times per week, their schedules permitting. And I recommend 2 to 3 months in coaching with me in order to be able to cover my coaching program in earnest and leave you in a stable place. Already having manifested a lot of things in a lot of cases, or at the very least in a stable place emotionally and fully understanding what you need to do going forward in order to sustain your shift, which I deliver provided you take my lead and take my suggestions, which 99% of my clients do, and continue on this road of viewing things completely differently, quite frankly. I give you the perspective that will help you succeed going forward. So if you want to be in my coaching, like I said, first, understand that I'm very direct. I'm very straightforward. I do expect respect. And I do expect that you will show up willing to work, willing to take my suggestions, and that you understand my personality. So please make sure you watch more than one video, audio/video by me. And if you want to be in my coaching, I require you pre-book so that I take your intention seriously to be in my coaching. I need to know my schedule every single month. And first come, first serve. Then you also need to send me the signed coaching agreement. This coaching agreement represents an agreement between you and I, that you will adhere by the coaching rules, simple like that, and that everything is confidential unless you will become a threat to yourself, to me, or to somebody else. That's pretty standard in therapy and coaching alike. Once you send that coaching agreement, you need to tell me your earliest availability to rendezvous for our first session, where we will discuss what the problems are, what you want to focus on, what your schedule is, etc. We kind of go over all the details, and it helps me figure out how we will conduct the coaching. I always custom make the coaching, even though it's a program. I always create a custom version for each individual, depending on what they want to work on and their personality, etc., many different variables. As well as I offer entry-level coaching in the form of Magic and Miracles audios. Those are in-depth audios that I send to you via email with a link or an attachment, and they are of a higher echelon audios other than the ones that I post on my channel. They have a lot of coaching material in it, which is why it's a subscription based only situation, and there's a lot more depth in them. You're gonna have to try it out to see for yourself. I also sell some of the audios as standalone, as well as the video school. Okay, now I wanted to thank everybody for showing up to my live just yesterday. It seems like ages ago. In my world, the day is like a century because I just enjoying everything so much, truly. And Cat V for guarding the fort with her wrench. It's so funny to me, the YouTube politics. Hilarious. Anyway, really thank everybody, and remind again that I have an encore right after live at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is a class essentially. This time around it was on rewriting beliefs. Now the tape is available. Excuse me. If you want to purchase it, is the same kind of coverage, meaning the ticket is the price of the ticket of the admission is the same as if you were to attend, because the information is there. And it was a pretty good class, if I just say so myself. So each week we will have a topic, and if you want to join the class, obviously book, sign the coaching agreement, and send it to me, essentially, and I'll send you the Zoom link. It's on Zoom. I understand people want privacy. You don't have to show your face, don't even have to speak if you don't want to, but that's an opportunity certainly for you to do so. You could just type your question if you want to. Other than that, I could just, you don't need to even do that. I will just cover what I need to cover in the class. So this coming Saturday, I think that I will discuss how to properly script. I might change my mind about it, but maybe I might change it to forgiveness and emotional processing. So maybe comment below and let me know which one you'd rather. Actually, forgiveness and emotional processing is a lot of it's a lot of how can I say it has a bigger impact on your manifestation than scripting, so maybe I'll do that instead. Anyway, I am very inspired to record this for whatever reason, so I couldn't talk it down, and so the topic of this audio, it kind of it rides on the tails of the live about the fears, but also kind of goes into the ever so favorite topic of everybody, most people I should say, who come to me for coaching off of YouTube. And so the title is 3 Main Reasons You're Not Manifesting Your SP, or whatever else you please. But in this particular case, it will be about SP, okay? So I was inspired because I was really thinking about what makes one person successful and another not in manifesting SP, not a third party. I almost misspoke. Anyway, and this is what I really think, okay? So underneath it all, whether, you can watch 300 million videos, etc., and I mean, I want to believe that my audios are drastically different from everybody else out there. And in fact, I'm not imagining things. I mean, people have told me that over and over without even being in coaching with me. So, and having achieved like fantastic results. So, and, I can't entirely take credit for that, and here's why: because I channel. So I do know I have all the information, perhaps like so many, but what my gift truly is channeling, and I never made a secret out of it. Everything I do is channeled in my work creatively, not just coaching, but fashion, and there are other companies that I'm creatively involved with. I write songs, I talked about that. So everything is kind of channeled. And so for me, my material, this is why it's so good, in other words. But nevertheless, you can watch all the videos, etc. But underneath it all, you have a message playing in your, you can say, subconscious mind. What it is you're really thinking, what it is that you're really feeling. And what a lot of people I feel like are doing is that whatever they are kind of consuming whilst they are learning about manifestation, even when they're doing certain processes, they don't let the process or the ideas sink in deep all the way, because it's very surface. And what breaks beyond the surface, I think, is just one-on-one coaching. Somebody talking to you and helping you establish connections between what you're thinking and what is transpiring in your world. So if you have a great coach, and I'm by no means am I saying I'm like the only good coach out there. I'm just saying it's just a rarity. It just happens to be that I started a channel recently called Coaching for Coaches. The link is below, and that's for somebody who wants to become a coach. And I'm a lot tougher on coaches. You will see my style over there is not as forgiving as over here. I shouldn't be. I really just expect a lot more from coaches than regular civilians, you might say. So if you have a good coach, then that truly definitely helps. In my case, personal case, I did look around for a coach, and I've mentioned this before early on when I was in my mid 20s, but there wasn't one available that I connected with. So I also tried therapy before that in my early 20s, but that wasn't good for me either. And so I did the work myself. And this is what I'm teaching, how to get there as quickly as possible. And my goal in my coaching is to get you as quickly as possible with the reasonable amount of effort on your part. I don't want you to, jump timelines in an unreasonable, time. Basically, I don't want to rush you. So I want you to get there as comfortably as possible, all the while maintaining that I have to hit my target in 2 to 3 months. And if you let me, I will do my job. Now, some people still need more time, and that's okay. It depends on different other things. But basically, underneath it all, if you're doing this work on your own, and in some cases, very challenging for people to do this because, like I said, they're doing it, but it's not sinking in because nobody has examined their psyche, as, for example, I can do in my coaching. Underneath it all, there's another message playing. So here's one of the things that may be going on, why you're not shifting, why you're not manifesting your SP. Because the reality of the story is that it's easy. It is easy. I keep saying it because it is. I'm not just, this is not like false advertisement or anything like that. This is for sure easy, just like everything else, that you're idolizing it and you're making a big fucking deal about it. Therein lies the problem, quite frankly. Me having understood what I did almost 15 years ago, I no longer make a big deal out of it. In fact, I realized that when I didn't, in the beginning of starting to date, which, whatever, I was like 16, 17 years old, I realized that was, what I want to return, that confidence, that kind of like, I don't really, dance by anybody's rules but my own. But we'll go into that in another audio. I keep wanting to talk about this. And so here's one of the 3 things that may be happening in your world right now. So, and this is kind of like A and B in this point. Subsections. Either this person has been outright abusive towards you, and you understand that, and this is quite frankly where I draw the line, and your higher self, your guardian angel, and therefore you understand that this is, quite frankly and bluntly put, fucked up. That this person absolutely did wrong by you, and you actually do not want to manifest this person underneath it all. You're saying that you do because you still have an unhealed wound. This is very important. Now, only you know if this is about you. Okay, so, but underneath it all, it's such a big deal breaker, understatement of the century, that you think that you're missing this person, but you're not. Because you realize how really fucked up their behavior was towards you. Okay, it was inhumane in some cases. Really not what you want to do with the rest of your life. Now, I'm not saying again that you couldn't change this person, but chances are the impact of that behavior has really, brought you to your knees at some point, or something like it. And you will do everything possible with your survival system inside your mind to not repeat that. And therefore, even though you're saying you want to manifest this person, really everything inside your body, your kind of like survival defense mechanism says no fucking way. Like no fucking way, no fucking way. The subsection B then is a deal breaker, but of another kind. Okay, maybe they weren't abusive, but It's something you can't forgive them, something you can't get over. Now, this I help people, work through for sure. So this is a situation where the person was not intentionally, evil towards you or anything like that. They were just in a situation where perhaps their own feelings were hurt and they behaved in a way that was perhaps out of character. Perhaps, the both of you just, sunk in frequency and certain things transpired that were not supposed to transpire. But it's still vivid in your mind, and it could be various different versions of what I just said. Essentially, it's something that you haven't let go of, you haven't forgiven, and it can take many shapes. Like, for example, cheating, I don't regard this as abusive. What I find is abusive is when you're knowingly hurting the person. You know you're hurting this person and you continue doing so and you derive pleasure out of it. That's what is abusive. And how do you know they derive pleasure out of it? Is because they're not stopping at any point. At no point they say sorry. It's basically, kind of like, you're dealing with a psycho, essentially, it's I've been there in abusive relationships where it was completely, disregarded of how I felt and what I wanted to do and all that jazz. And it was clear to me that this person was abusive, but because for an empath, sometimes it's a really hard situation to break out of a addictive situation, a relationship where there's toxicity involved, and you stay. So that again belongs to the A subsection, but the B would be where the person is simply either acted out of character. There was no abuse going on. Essentially, there were some hurtful words perhaps said. Some certain things that you really took to heart and you really are struggling with getting over. This completely is manageable, I want to say. That you're not able to let it go right now is what's stopping it, though. The unforgiveness, those ill feelings about you should have known better or you could have done better, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one. This two is you putting it on pause because of the lack of self-worth. And this is a big one with people. Perhaps I should have started with this one. It's the disbelief that this person can even come back. So to somebody like me who's experienced, people reappearing and whenever I wanted them to, you do have to decide. And it's not just a decision verbally or on paper. It really is a decision with your heart. Okay, I'm ready to let you back in, kind of deal. I'm ready to try again. I'm ready to accept that I can be happy in a relationship. I'm ready to accept what I really want, because a lot of people, they say they want something, but they're really not accepting it as a potential. So you're saying again to yourself underneath it all, this is impossible. This is possible for somebody else. Maybe Anna can do it or somebody else, but not me, kind of deal. And I want to tell you that it is possible. It is possible for you, but what you're doing right now, the way that you're thinking, is a lack of self-worth, lack of confidence. And so your frequency, therefore, is on a lower kind of like tier, and the reality that you're observing from that point of view will be, drastically different from what you actually would prefer. And so that, again, I deal with in coaching, and I help you reposition your self-worth, your confidence. I work pretty tirelessly on your belief system, which is fundamentally what will take you there. If you have your belief system, the whole world can crash around you. And if your belief system is powerful and strong, even if you got yourself in the bind, you can fish yourself out of it in a relatively short period of time. So the self-worth is obviously coming from the belief system. Something might have happened, maybe a series of things. And this is something to walk through, to talk through. Again, my coaching sessions resemble therapy. They're not therapy for a simple reason. I'm allowed to give you feedback and constructive feedback to lift you back up to the frequency in which you would rather reside. And that is a perfect segue to the next. And this is what actually got me to record this audio, if I'm being completely transparent, is the elevation in frequency. Your problem, so to speak, in quotations, not really a problem, is just a common situation that happens, I should say, with people who are really aware. When I started being aware, and I can only describe it as that, I started being aware of my own frequency, of my own power, of my energy, and how to create on purpose. And with that comes, quite frankly, elevation in frequency. And that inevitably, in my own personal life, led to certain people dropping off, okay? In other words, for some reason, I've been friends with people for years and years since I came to New York. Suddenly we would have disagreements. I remember precisely right after I left my drug addict ex-boyfriend and started my own company and was really flying high for the first time in my entire fucking life, mind you. Certain friends did not really like that. So it truly spoke a different picture to me right after I became really happy. And therefore, a lot of people started dropping off. They didn't want to spend time with me anymore. I didn't want to party till the wee of the hours anymore. And so we disconnected. So these situations happen and they're there to serve you. The short of it is, and the long-term potential lies in the people who are high vibe, basically put. And today I have a very tight but very kind of like stable circle of people who are only high vibration. I don't have any tolerance for people. It's just, even if there've been a couple of people that, like I mentioned here and there, have been disrespectful towards me in my coaching, they naturally kind of floated out of my coaching because we just weren't on the same frequency. You need to come up on enough of a frequency with me so that we can even kind of see eye to eye. And so I'm very aware of that. So in your case, within yourself, there may have been shifts, okay, that somebody kind of floated out of your existence is not by chance. There's always a change of frequency. Now, you be the decider of which way you shifted. Okay, I don't know your story, you know your story. But that is always the indication that if something is not there that you want it to be there, you're on the wrong frequency. So, but in this case, your frequency may have augmented and the other person stayed behind. And that happens all the fucking time. So, and I can certainly speak from experience in my own personal life. There have been exes that, I realized quickly that vibrationally, they are not anywhere close to where I am. And even though I miss them at certain moments and this and that, and everybody's human and blah, 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 ultimately, it wasn't for me. And eventually, I found peace in that, I don't actually want this person because it's vibrationally not connecting with me anymore. They don't have anything to offer me. It's like I don't like to feel more powerful in a relationship, no matter what it is. Meaning if I feel like I'm overpowering the kind of the vibration within the room, I'm not playing on my level kind of deal. And so it needs to be somebody's on par or even is kind of showing me things that I don't know about. This is what I found the most attractive, the most interesting. And take notes for those of you who want to attract an SP back where there is no drama and maybe you fell behind on frequency. This is the entirety of my coaching. Bring you back to the certain frequency where it's your home-based frequency. That's your authentic frequency. And whoever needs to be on that frequency, if you choose your SP back into your life, wonderful. Provided you want them, just like I said, and they you're not struggling with desire or, there's no deal breakers. Even if there is some unforgiveness, we can work through it, etc., etc. And lastly, and I already just mentioned it, is lack of desire. Okay. So lack of desire, I can't help you with. Either you want this person or you don't. you can be mad at the person and still want them, right? Provided, again, they're not abusive. You can still want them, you can still have a passionate desire, and eventually, once you work through the unforgiveness, your desire will overpower, and that's the vibration you're going to be operating from. And from that God state vibration, like I always mention, anything is possible. So again, this is what I aim to do in coaching for everybody, is to reach back to their high vibration, their God state. Now, if you wanted that person at some point, and again, your vibration elevated, right? So remember, on each frequency, you want different things. You're a different version yourself on each frequency. So from the frequency that you will be operating from, which is God state, things might change. So if before, when you were miserable, in other words, to be completely blunt, you really wanted that person so much, but now that, let's just say, you went through my coaching, and this happens time and time again in my coaching, the person changes their mind because now they're self-worth is reworked, beliefs are reworked, forgiveness has been, taking place, etc., etc. Their vibration is liberated from all this junk. You might change your mind and your desire might completely go away. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means that, again, this person doesn't reside anymore on the same home God state vibration for you. Your God state has to be the home-based vibration, like I said, from which you're operating from, and achieving not just DSP, but everything else. So in my, opinion, and I think that totally will make sense to everybody, I mean, sacrificing everything else around you for one person is absolutely crazy. You'd rather get on the God state vibration where you have everything you want. And if at that level, if you still feel like you want that person, fucking wonderful. Okay, that is amazing. Go ahead, and again, it won't be as difficult for you to bring that person back. But if you get on that God state frequency and you change your mind and the desire is no longer there, that's fine. So these are the 3 things that may be stopping you from manifesting your SP. If I haven't covered something that may be your situation, I would love to hear it. You can book a session first before signing up for the coaching. But ultimately, I would say coaching is the best idea for you to immerse in this full-on process of completely redoing your belief system that will ultimately long-term help you, not just with your SP, again, but with everything else that you have going on, which is a lot, more important than just one person. I think what I'm looking for is the overall happiness for my clients, and achieving all of their entire potential needs to be activated, not just the love life, but everything needs to be, put into place for them to be able to carry this out long term. All the information for my coaching is directly below in the description. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.